Bienvenidos, Aquarius. Welcome to your April 2025 readings. And I am so grateful and thankful to be a divine messenger for your highest and greatest good. I invite you to take a moment here to just center your energy into this reading. Closing your eyes or keeping your eyes open, I invite you to take a deep inhale with me in perfect love and perfect trust. Inhale through the nose. Hold and anchoring in divine love frequency of benevolence and truth and righteousness and perfect love and perfect trust. Exhale, stepping our ego to the side so that source is using me as a divine messenger for your highest and greatest good. I invite you to call in your higher selves and your spiritual team here and any divine intervention that needs to step in. I advise you and use as a disclaimer for you to accept the messages that you do resonate with, that is giving you confirmation, and that if there is any messages that you are resisting that is absolutely for your highest and greatest good, but perhaps there's some resistance there, you getting in your own way, whatever the case may be, that the divine intervention steps in to bring you tangible confirmation for your highest and greatest good so that you are not stepping in your own way of your path for your greatest good. If in fact you are also receiving a message that is not your message, that is not for your highest and greatest good, that divine intervention steps in to remove it from your mind, your body, your aura, your psyche, your experience, so that you are not receiving a false light projection into your life. That is my will. And if it is your will, then so it shall be. All right, Aquarius, I am fucking ready to get into your reading. I am going to do, this is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you are a cross watcher, hello, nosy. If you are just coming in because your soul has guided you here, this could be that the Sagittarius, well, I don't know why that came through, why the Aquarius part of your chart wants to convey a message. All right, so we're gonna get started here with some bones like I did to every sign here for the month of April. So let's see here, month of April. There we go. Awesome. All right, so some of you Aquarius may be having a hard time diving deeper into your shadow work here, especially because of the way that the tooth came out. This is a tooth here. So there could be either some verbal manipulation or denial even. This could also be like repression. Maybe some of you are having a hard time expressing your emotions or wanting to express your emotions, but perhaps you feeling repressed or feeling alone, feeling like you don't really have someone who's either going to understand or comprehend what you're wanting to convey here. Or maybe some of you just feel unheard, or some of you just feel fucking tired, like you don't even want to talk about certain things anymore. Some of you may be really needing to communicate with someone that is mentally stable. This could be a friend, a psychiatrist, a therapist. This can be a spiritual advisor that you may need to communicate with here to get into like some shadow work here. This could also just be that maybe you speak bad about yourself or bad others, and you're needing to work through the way that you communicate. This could also be that you are feeling numb. Maybe you just don't have anything to say or want to say anything. Did it just get blurry? Yeah, it did for a moment. And as you take a moment to pause and think about your words, you come into a space of finding yourself maybe later on in April, like making better decisions or choices with your actual words here. With this energy downward in this way, it's like you getting in your own way of actually making healthy, meaningful connections that will be fruitful in your life. But I do feel like by the end of April that you will definitely come into a different space, especially here with this tooth. Now, just because I'm pulling out these messages, I'm channeling them, so they don't always mean the same thing for everyone all the time. I kind of just feel like, because this came out backwards, and I'm just gonna honor, Spirit said honor the way that it came out, right? Teeth specifically, minding your words, minding your aggression. Maybe some of you have been impulsive with your temperament or words, or there's a need to reevaluate or be mindful. Even maybe you're feeling defensive, or maybe some of you are just not communicating with somebody who's like a narcissist, or somebody who's a predator, or someone who has they're trying to attack you even, right? And there's a need to like stop communicating with this individual, or something along those lines here. You can be taking some time for your mental wellness here, for your physical health, your spiritual health here, especially in the womb space, tending to your hormones, tending to like maybe some of you are like healing through depression or something like that, postpartum depression, or just womb healing or detaching, maybe doing a cord cutting. For some of you, this could be an actual cord cutting. Yeah, need to let go of somebody in your womb space, certain patterns, tendencies, connections, sexual partners, stuff like that here is kind of what I'm getting. I did pre-shuffle the deck, and so I'm just going to shuffle it one more time in your face here, and then cut it. And we're just going to look into Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and or rising signs, your current energy for April. Some of you can be feeling horny. Some of you can be going through some karmic shifts when it comes down to sacred marriages, when it comes down to relationships here, when it comes down to your philosophy and life. Oh yeah, this can very much be a marriage here. Okay, so this tells me here, this energy is very different from this energy. I'm going to be completely honest. So we'll see what else comes up in just a moment. But with the Six of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Four of Wands, this tells me sacred union. So y'all could be equally yoked. Maybe y'all are too manipulative as people in a marriage, that or maybe two people end up meeting and like didn't really communicate about marriage, but end up deciding to elope, or end up no, okay. The elope, yes, that can be a possibility. But what I was getting, they're telling me no, because I was gonna say this can be like deciding to like have a one-night stand or something, and it leads to a higher like level of relationship, but that's what they were saying no to. So for some of you, this is very much, oh, okay, thank you, Spirit. For some of you, this so there's actually two different kind of stories is what I'm getting here. For some of you, you may have been married to like a narcissist, and you were very afraid to stand up for yourself. You were afraid to, but energetically, y'all were magnetically aligned for each other, because y'all balanced each other out in ways of like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the philosophies in life, and the ways that y'all needed to communicate, in the ways that we're making things work. For others of you, this is very much that if there were certain, maybe you and your partner were having relationship issues and you're married, this can be a reconciliation or some sort of like karmic habits and tendencies that needed to be clear. And I was getting like the shadow work here. So this could very much be like maybe you were living with somebody who was like divinely in tune and connected with the philosophy in life and your views, and like but they're also serving as a spiritual lesson for like for you, and like they were mimicking your shadows and your light, not just one or the other. And I feel like these two energies, I was kind of already getting that, like two peas in a pod, essentially, right? Some of you can be a twin. This can very much be siblings, on a spiritual journey, on a lesson here. For some of you, I am getting like, this is not a lot of you. This is not everybody's journey. And this is not to be confused with like the twin, the soulmate concept of twin flames, but an actual twin flame connection here. And not in a toxic way. If it is a twin flame connection, this is not the chaser runner type situation. What this is here, because this energy is really nice here. What this is here is two people that's choosing to confront their shadows together. Two people that's actually mimicking their light and dark. I am seeing this like the DNA actually here. So in the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Swords here. So Spirit, tell me a little bit more here for my Aquarius. Yep, I knew this was a love situation. Okay, this was definitely a love situation that didn't work out, but it had every potential to be successful. Oh, and intuition. There was a need. So somebody could have been denying themselves of their intuition here. Somebody could have gotten a vision or an intuitive message about something that wasn't going to work out. There was a lot of dissatisfaction here. So in the month of April, with this being your current energy here, I do feel like maybe some of you were divorced or separated before April, and you come to a space of being in the High Priestess energy here, where you had to learn the hard way of what were your toxic traits, what were the toxic traits of the people that you were connecting to in relationships here. This is very much about your love language here and ascending to a higher level through spiritual knowledge and awareness by taking time to study yourself, by taking time to dive deeper within yourself and take a deep, honest reflection of the things that is difficult for you to look at pertaining to like any expectations or the seeds you were planting. For some of you, not everyone, but this can also be dealing with fertility issues. Maybe some of you are you want to have children, you're married, you're in a marriage, you're in a relationship where you want children, but maybe you find it difficult to conceive, or maybe one of you wants a child and the other one doesn't really want a child. That can kind of be something here where like healing gets involved so that you can go through the work to be able to conceive something in this union. If there is a separation during Venus retrograde, this was really showing you some really deep spiritual insight. And now that Venus is direct, you really start coming to a space of like trying to figure out what does marriage mean to you, what does proper reciprocation in your friendships, in your family, in your love situation look like, what is it that you want, what are your values. So I really feel like this is diving deeper into your values here, and this is very, very, very deep and profound, actually, this energy. And to be honest, like, you have 6 cards, and 3 out of the 6, which is half, are major arcana. So it's like literally you take one step and it's a major leap into your life, and then you take another step forward and it takes a major leap. One step, major leap, right? Major lessons are coming through your decision making here. And with the Lovers card, this was pertaining to an actual relationship with a spouse that actually led you to make a head of a heart decision here. And you may have been maybe more in your head, but there's spiritual I don't know how to say that word. Progness. I'm not sure what that is. Prowess. I'm not sure. I'm hearing like spiritual prowess or something like that. But spiritual lessons and pertaining to this. Give me a moment. I'm gonna take a sip. I needed a sip of water here. This energy is it's really interesting that I'm diving into it, because I do see a lot of love here. I feel like this was a relationship that could have worked out. And for some of you, this could very much be that like you learned your lesson. You learned so many hard lessons when it came down to love. That you had to go through the journey of healing, and you find yourself now getting married in a new relationship, in a new space. And maybe certain events during the month of April, because of Venus and retrograde, was bringing you to like a space of like reminiscing of the past. And you realizing like, wait, why do I feel like I'm not over this yet? Or maybe you had a dream about someone from your past or something. You're like, what is this dream about? What does this mean? And so you're just diving a little bit deeper into that, because you're really like honoring your spiritual awareness and your lessons here. So it doesn't necessarily, I don't see any cheating. I don't see that. I do see equally yoked balanced situations here in a relationship that didn't quite work out, or maybe there, somebody didn't feel like there was enough investment, or something was it went from very balanced and equal to unfair. And there was your intuition was like in the space of like helping you see through certain things. So this is your current energy in the month of April. We're gonna go a little bit more. So Spirit, tell me a little bit more for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising during the month of April. That's a lot of cards. I'm going to do it again. Just make sure they're in the same way. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Some of you are considered a high priestess. So minding your words, what you speak, it turns into reality. Maybe you're not aware of that gift just yet. Spirit, tell me a little bit more about Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of April. For the month of April. I did see meditation like twice. Okay, Spirit. You've been talking with all the cards and I feel you hot. So okay. I keep seeing meditate. Change your habits. Your current habit is a form of self-sabotage and isn't serving you well at all. Let go and create new, healthy patterns for your greatest good. This could be part of the shadow work or the journey that you're embarking on right now. We're going to do this here so that we have more space on the board. Generational traumas. This is an old pattern, trauma that has been passing down for generations. Time to break the pattern. Let it go. Remove the toxins and heal. Affirmations. Your words have more power than you realize, especially right now. You say, write, and sing words that affirm your desired success. Your words are more stronger. You actually create. So does this individual here. You are literally in a relationship, or you've been, your friendships, your relationships has literally been divine mirrors. Because you speak it into existence and so do they. And so when you see the manifestations happening that is not of your desires, of what you want, it may have been that you were speaking it into existence without even truly wanting to. You have a strong connection with water. Speak life into your water. Drink more water. Water scry, spiritual baths, water fountains, bodies of water. Meditate in water. Clean the water, beaches, rivers, etc. You have the skill. You have the skill of divination in your energy signature, both in science and intuition. Use different tools or even specialize in one tool of divination is a major part of your journey. Read the signs. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to get a little bit more, Spirit. Tell me a little bit more for my Aquarius. You have mediumship abilities, ability to be a messenger. You can communicate with spirits on a different level than the average person. Pay attention to your dreams, clears, as a message is trying to come in for you to listen to understand. This very much could be tell me a little bit more here for my Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I feel like ancestors wanted to come through one more time, and if not, I'm going to just move to the next. Okay, that's all that wants to come out. All right. Spirit, tell me what else is to come for Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. That was fast. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising for the month of April. What else is to come? What is next to come? Yep, there we go. These cards wanted to jump out. Endings and new beginnings, major changes and transformations, the need to be strong in these new endeavors here. The King of Cups. There was definitely somebody that you were letting go. In the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Wands, which is like they didn't like the message. They didn't like the news. Maybe you didn't like the news here. I feel like this is also you taking, like, because there was a head of a heart decision, what is to come here. Moving on is with the King of Cups in reverse. This does tell me that Spirit is asking. So these are the three cards here. Let me do this way. Okay. With the energies that is to come in April are lessons here for you to navigate through your emotional intelligence. With the King of Cups here, this is very much someone that's hasty, someone who is continuously being emotionally manipulative. This is you definitely like not trusting in men. So there could be some generational trauma when it comes down to the divine masculine energies. Maybe you don't believe there is a divine masculine energies. Maybe you just think like all men are the same, or you may be operating more on like a toxic masculine energy, whether you are a man or a woman here. There's also a need to stay strong. If there is a toxic masculine in the space who maybe is trying to reach out, someone, an ex that you let go of or something, and maybe, spirit could be saying like, be stronger than this individual here, and they're like their ways of trying to woo you back into their life, because the energy is complete. It served its purpose already here. There is that like, maybe somebody is not apologizing or being compassionate. Maybe you need to like be more compassionate with yourself. Maybe you need to apologize to yourself. Maybe you're a strong individual who just doesn't you don't really speak nice to people or something. You know your life better than I do. The thing about this is that this is a major spiritual lesson, because there's way too many major arcanas here on the board, which says this wasn't just a regular relationship. This wasn't just a regular connection here. This was meant to change your entire view on your values, your entire view on the people that you connect with in relationships here. This relationship was meant to really have you dive deeper into your emotional generational traumas here, and the traumas that not only you have, but the people that you associate yourself with. Are they operating from a space of generational trauma or generational wealth here? Because I do feel like spirit is, either way, you're moving forward, but you're being called to be a little bit strong with mastering your shadow side with your light side, with that balance here, not letting the demon inside of you consume itself or like consume you, right? But rather knowing when to tame the beast and when to release the beast here. Not letting any intrusive thoughts get to your heart or get to your head here. And there could also be maybe someone who you may be, because of this separation or this change, even though you've seen it coming, you knew it was happening here, fighting through maybe like a little bit of depression here. But regardless of what, with this King of Cups energy, I really do feel like there's a strong need to get in tune with emotional intelligence and emotional regulations. And the thing is, I feel like you kind of do know how to do that, but you've gotten so used to being manipulated by others, or you were manipulating others to the point where it's almost like you don't even see that this is a toxic habit or behavior of yours anymore. So we're gonna ask for the fairies for some advice here. In the bottom of the deck, we have the Bodacious Badach, and I did already pre-shuffle them. So tell me some advice here for my Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs for the month of April. What advice can we give them in regards to this situation here? I feel like some of y'all really do want love. Like, y'all really in a space of like, I don't want to continue the same toxic fucking patterns. Like, I'm not going to let me be divinely I'm not gonna allow myself to be connecting with somebody who's not divinely aligned with my spiritual views, with the concept of stability and working things through in a relationship and honoring the connection. Tell me a little bit more. Give me advice. I'm sorry. Give us advice for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. There we go. In the bottom of the deck, this Soul Shrinker, I felt that really, really, really strong. And I do feel like I'm supposed to read it for y'all. So I am going to take it out. But we're going to see here. The number 37 could be significant. We have Tabara of the waters, and you had here, yeah, you have a connection with water. Water meditation could be highly beneficial for you right now. Maybe going to the ocean, a river, taking a spiritual bath. Oh, y'all are definitely coming into some ecstasy here. You can be a very high vibrational individual, and there could have been some people who were really just trying to dim your fucking light, and you've come to the space of being able to identify those that try to belittle you or shrink you here. And you're not letting these manipulative people get in the way of shrinking you and making you smaller than what you actually are anymore. So if you, that sounds like your story, whether it was a marriage or a relationship, a friendship, a family member, if you went through that toxic energy, be it that you went through the abuse and being the abuser, because I feel like you were both, you kind of had to play through both to kind of learn this lesson, is kind of what I'm getting here. I feel like you come out the wiser. You come out in a space where you're now learning to speak to yourself better. You come to a space of really wanting to honor the soul essence of your beauty, of your, what it means to be happy in life. So this energy does represent motivation, the rapture, joy, and ecstasy. And hold on. In a reading, ecstasy is something people seek. It feels better than good. It feels, well, ecstatic. We experience it in tiny bursts and in bigger surges. It enables us to recognize the sacred nature of our own being as an experienced fact, not merely a theory or article of faith. Ecstasy is not something we make within ourselves, but something that flows through us when we open ourselves to it. It fills us with the power and with the motivation to grow, to become what we have the positive potential of being, and to fulfill our purpose in being here and now in this planet. When we are feeling these surges of joy, we are empowered, and we know that we are on an appropriate track for us. The track that leads to greater meaning, fulfillments in our lives. This card in a reading says, amongst other things, go for it. It confirms that we are on a course moving in a good direction and that we are in harmony with a great song. It says great things and great accomplishment are within your reach. Its song also lights up and empowers the cards around it, healing the past, intensifying the moment, and enlightening the future. When this energy is out of balance, you may be feeling sorrowful or grieving. Remember that these are feelings too, and are parts of the great song. They are part of love. Don't try to block them. Don't try to deny them. Let them flow. If your song is mournful, sing it that way. Let the energy move. Let it run freely until it changes. It is important to let ourselves feel what we feel without denial or blocking, so that we can process these feelings naturally until they transform within us. Only by finding creative expression for such feelings may we complete their process and move beyond them. If life is not going as you wish, live it, acknowledge it, express it creatively and appropriately. Go through it and beyond it. Find the creative balance between wallowing in emotions and denying them. We can accept and gradually transform our feelings. There is a saying, this too shall pass. It is true about everything, all of our joys and all of our sorrows. Live it and let it pass so that tomorrow can bring a new life, all the deeper and richer for what you have passed through. That was intense. So we're gonna go to 37 here, and that's a number 2. And then 55 may also be significant. What was that? 37 here, right here. So yes, this is about emotions, serenity, meditation. I did get the message about meditation. Gracefully accepting change. So change is inevitable, Aquarius. You may act like you like change, you want change, but you don't like the feeling of this change here. All right. For a moment, close your eyes and just let yourself feel the cool, sparkling fairy waters flowing through your fingers. Imagine drinking this sparkling coolness from your own cupped hands. And imagine the water flowing down your throat. You may even be able to feel that magical energy-filled coolness flow right through you to your toes. Feel better? Throughout the world, there are healing wells, both for general health and specific ailments. In modern time, many of their fairy qualities have been diluted, even though Tabara and her healing helpers do all that they can to keep them clear and potent. Fairy waters reflect the emotional state of the human people around them, so that fairy waters can come through to the world, have lesson and purity and power in places where people are living especially stressful, civilized lives. As one group oracle observes, there are profound connections with drinking water, tears, wells of forgiveness, water as the fluid of transforming nutrients in the body and connecting the flow. I could flow on, but I'll stop. However, the many healing fairies who help Tabara do the best they can under the circumstances to purify the waters, and they try to maintain their own merry spirits to give added power to the waters. We can help the fairies by creating more merit in the lives of others and in our own lives. In addition to the healing wells, there are wells and springs to bestow wisdom or skill upon the drinker, like the famous Hippocranean fountain on Mount Helicon, which bestows poetic inspiration. I suspect it of being a certain level of poetic ability. Another drought brings you more. I'm sorry. I suspect it of being a certain level of poetic. Oh, I suspect it to be a fairy fountain because of the way it works. If you have one drink, you gain a certain level of poetic ability. Another drought brings you more. And the third brings you the full flower of poetry. The reason the world is not overrun with magnificent poets is because, first, it is very difficult to find the spring. And second, the water packs such a wallop that most people stagger off after a single drink or two. And you only get one chance at the spring. There is also the fountain of youth, like the one on Dun Eye, the highest hill of Lona, a magical isles on the west coast of Scotland. I looked and looked for this fountain but didn't find it. I shall have try again next time I'm there because I'm much more in need of it now than I was those years ago. In a reading, water is mutable, changeable, fluid, and Tabara speaks to us of a particular kind of change, a change of emotions, and possibly a change in our health. We have important choices to make about how we meet those changes and where we let them take us. Towards the calm, flowy purity of the fairy waters, or the boiling cauldron of hot tempered and steamy emotions. The choice is obvious, but we sometimes forget that we have it. Tabara reminds us that we do have a choice, and making it wisely or unwisely determines our future. The things we need in life remain constant, no matter what is going on or how hectic the changes and pressures in our lives may be. We need nurturing and love, and it is ultimately up to us to provide that for ourselves. The healing fairies will help us if we ask them to. This can indicate emotional needs not being met or thirst of the spirit or emotions. Or on the other hand, it can remind us that fairy spells on waters can be mischievous, causing confusion, muddled memories, and irritability in humans. Perhaps a cold shower is in order. Certainly, it is time for a cooling off, calming down, and quieting the waters of our emotions before we take any actions. And then we have the Soul Shrinker, which I am going to read because it's very important for your reading. There's a lot of need to really confront and be honest with yourself. Like I mentioned, even with the tooth, I felt a sense of like denial of like seeing what is in your subconscious realm, like what are you subconsciously doing. So the Soul Shrinker, cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destructions, and blessings. The distasteful task of the Soul Shrinker is to obvious what we say to and about others, especially the mean, nasty, and unnecessary critical things. By observing our behaviors this way, he reflects it back to us, making us more aware of it. This is a Bodhisattva, a spiritual being devoted to helping bring about enlightenment of all type of job, and it requires great compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. If the Soul Shrinker himself is not to be dragged down to our level. If we are just inwardly splurting it, looking for words, he may even suggest to us that words express our feelings and energy, then it is our choice, our test, whether or not we say them. There are two important things about malicious gossip: unnecessary criticism, verbal cruelty, sarcasm, and scoring off of others. One is that it demands the speaker, make him less, make him his aura darker, and encourages the behavior of a habit, continually eroding the brightness and the potential of goodness of the speaker, the potential goodness of the speaker. The other important thing is that this is a way that we actually curse our others. Even if the recipient doesn't hear the actual words of the blessings or the curse, even if the words are not spoken out loud, they are carried as discordant notes through ecstasies. Wow, which she also came out. Ecstasies, song of the universe to the recipient. Fortunately, that is not all there is to it, or such behavior would be unforgivably wicked. Not that it is pretty nearly that anyway. We all have a choice about whether we accept curses or blessings. If we choose not to accept it, then all the energy boomerangs back to the sender, who then gets a well-deserved double dose of it. Once long ago, the soul shrinker was very beautiful, and listening to and witnessing all of this human ugliness has rubbed off on his appearance like that of a lovely frog in a polluted pool, with his skin raw and forming hideous growths. His heart is compassionate and anguished. His heartfelt wish is that we learn right speech and right thoughts. Every wicked thing a human says may make the soul shrinker more ugly. Every time a human learns this lesson, the soul shrinker becomes a bit less ugly. As you can see, humanity as a whole has a lot to do on this. In a reading, critical and malicious thoughts and words are having a detrimental effect on the situation and the people involved in it. Steps need to be taken to banish this cursed energy through love and compassion, or at the very least through forgiveness and a refusal to accept the curse into oneself. Understanding the implications of this and transforming the behavior and feelings involved is a major and often very difficult step in human spiritual development. One of the things usually involved here is taking responsibility for ourselves and our own feelings rather than blaming others for the way that we are. Another part of this process is to learn to be compassionate towards ourselves. If we can do that, it is much easier not to be horrible to and about others. This doesn't mean that we are supposed to be all sweetness and light all the time. Constructive criticism given compassionately is a part of being real, and reality is a good thing to be in touch with. When this energy is out of balance, it says malice, vicious gossip, and cruelty are occurring somewhere in this situation, cursing the people involved. The best way to change this is to begin scattering blessings, thank yous, positive feedback, and kind words in all directions. It helps a lot if they are actually meant. Wow. I know I read a lot, and I usually don't read all of the card messages in that way, but I strongly felt like I was guided to read it for you, because I feel like even my words wouldn't have expressed it the justice that it needs for the comprehension of this message here. So on the bottom of the deck, we have orange gold dragon from Aquarius, opens you up to knowledge of the new golden age. Carry the energy of the future, be a guiding light. I did pre-shuffle the deck. We're going to get a final closing card here from the dragons. What dragon message? Thank you. In the bottom of the deck, we have earth dragon, clears your path and the land around you. Stay grounded. Be ready to serve. Stuck energy is clearing. You can move forward in life. All right, this is about clearing out that generational trauma. And we're going to see here, magenta dragon enables you to bring forward your soul's wisdom, awaken your soul's memory and higher spiritual understanding. Prepare for accelerated ascension. I love that. There's a lot of love and joy that is trying to come in here for you. And so I invite you to welcome it in and be honest with your emotions as you welcome in the fun times. You also do the shadow work necessary to kind of keep it away for good, or at least for when you don't need it. All right, Aquarius, I affirm that these messages serve you for your highest and greatest good. And until next time, peace, love, and harmony.